When is the last time someone told you that the very Old Testament says there's another group that is said to be the people of God? They go, oh, this book is Old Testament and he's a God of Israel. If you read the Old Testament, God keeps saying, I'm the God of all nations. The reason why I'm working through Israel is to move them to worship me. This is the theme in the Old Testament. And point of fact, I want to ask you guys a question as I answer this one. When was the last time you were told that there's another group said to be God's people in the Old Testament besides Israel? Because you're told that Israel's the people of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
When is the last time someone told you that the very Old Testament says there's another group that is said to be the people of God? It's the very passage every Assyrian and his mother quotes that talks about Assyria and Egypt. In Isaiah 19, 23 to 25, specifically 25, it goes, Egypt, my people. Assyria, the work of my hands. Israel, my inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like a tribal God? He says, Egypt is my people. So when we read the Old Testament, sometimes we're misreading it due to particular theological dispositions or political points of view. The God of the Old Testament is quite clear. God in the Old Testament talks about the nations and his love for them and his desire to save them. God says to the Israelites, you see what I do to nations? I'm going to do worse to you if you don't toe the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I know this book is, look, if I'm making up a book, I'm going to make myself look as good as possible. The people that are the thorn in God's side, that God has the hardest time with, are the Israelites. So that tells me this is a brutally honest record that's not trying to sugarcoat and make one people superior. On the contrary, God keeps reminding them, don't you dare discriminate against the Gentiles. If a Gentile comes to live in your midst, treat him as a native Israelite. He's not less than you. And I can give you the receipts. A very timely message for today. He wants all peoples to be saved. The God of the Old Testament says, I don't want the nations surrounding Israel to be destroyed. I want them to turn to be saved because I created them and I love them. They're my creatures. Don't make your enemies my enemy. Just like I created the plant, I own it, I created them. And I didn't create them for destruction. I created them to live. See, this is the heart of God. This is God.